What if I told you that beneath your everyday human experience, there's this hidden operating system quietly dictating your long-term health, your metabolism, and even your body's fundamental ability to fight off disease? We usually think of health as just a collection of separate habits, right? What we eat, how we exercise, the supplements we take, but science is revealing something far more profound. We're uncovering an invisible, deeply interconnected network pulsing right beneath your skin, where your environment is literally programming your biology moment by moment. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to explore the single most powerful environmental input controlling this entire system.
Think about your daily environment for a second. We almost always assume the most impactful variables are the tangible ones. The food on our plate, the weight on a barbell. But there is a force so ubiquitous, so deeply woven into our evolutionary history that we've completely forgotten to even look at it as a metabolic input. It's actually incredibly counterintuitive to realize that something as intangible as a shadow or the glow of a sunbeam is actively dictating your hormone balance, your nervous system regulation, and your immune response. That invisible biological force is the presence of light, and the profound restorative absence of it, darkness. To really understand how they exert this control, we have to look at a molecule that is just universally misunderstood.
Okay, let's dive right into this. When most of us hear the word melatonin, we immediately think of a simple over-the-counter sleep aid, right? Like a gummy you take to just force yourself to fall asleep. But the reality is a breathtaking evolutionary truth. Billions of years ago, life on Earth faced a massive crisis. It needed a way to survive the metabolic fire of oxygen, which creates these incredibly damaging free radicals. So to survive, life created melatonin. It was literally born as an ancient biological shield. Deep within our mitochondria, the energy powerhouses of our cells, melatonin evolved to scavenge those free radicals, making oxygen metabolically tolerable. So it isn't just a sleep hormone, it is a fundamental protector of cellular integrity. So how does your body actually know when to deploy this ancient shield?
I want you to visualize this epic, microscopic journey happening inside you right now. It starts in your eyes, but not with the rods and cones that give you normal vision. There's a highly specialized group of cells, intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, and they capture just a single photon of environmental light. Instantly, the signal races deep into your brain, striking a region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. But wait, the journey doesn't stop there. The signal takes this astonishing detour, diving all the way down into your upper thoracic spinal cord, before sympathetic nerve fibers absolutely rocket the message back up into the center of your brain, hitting the pineal gland. It's a massive, full-body electrical circuit designed to do exactly one thing: translate the external world into an internal chemical command.
Let's zoom in on that command center, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. Think of the SCN as the grand conductor of a cellular symphony, and specific clock genes, with names like clock, bmol1, purr, and cry, as the musicians. The ventral region of the SCN receives that direct light input from your eyes, while the dorsal region acts as this incredibly robust internal pacemaker. Together, they orchestrate a vastly complex intracellular dance. And here's where the interconnectedness becomes truly beautiful. Your liver, your pancreas, your fat cells, they don't have eyes. They're completely blind to the outside world. Yet they see the time of day through this master rhythm. Your entire body is pulsing to this master clock.
But, this brilliantly orchestrated symphony brings us to a huge modern environmental conflict: 460. Specifically, 460 to 480 nanometers. This is the wavelength of blue light. And our modern world is absolutely saturated in it, from the screens in our pockets to the streetlights outside to our indoor LEDs. And here is the real tragedy. Those ancient, highly specialized cells in your eyes are exquisitely, almost painfully sensitive to this exact wavelength. When you're exposed to 460 nanometer light in those critical hours before bed, it acts as a profound biological betrayal. You're basically tricking your ancient cells, feeding them a powerful signal of morning at the exact moment they desperately need the signal of darkness to initiate deep cellular repair.
And this confusion, it creates a devastating cascade effect. Scientists call it ALAN, or artificial light at night. Chronic exposure to ALN doesn't just make you a little groggy the next day, it is systematically dismantling your biology. The light suppresses your melatonin, which fragments your sleep. That fragmented sleep instantly alters hepatic lipid metabolism, literally changing how your liver handles fats. That lipid disruption then leads directly to hormonal chaos. Over time, this silent metabolic shift significantly elevates the risks of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. But the final consequence of this biological betrayal brings us to a terrifying, yet entirely fascinating question.
We are now discovering that this isn't just about metabolic syndrome or feeling a bit tired. We're talking about fundamental cellular survival here. How does the literal absence of darkness directly influence tumor progression? Prepare to see your evening light habits in a completely different way from now on. We're about to cross from the realm of surprising biology into a truly life-changing realization. Let's look at exactly how light exposure fundamentally alters the biology of cancer.
Cancer cells, as you might know, are notoriously hungry. To rapidly divide and multiply, they aggressively seek out fuel. And one of their preferred fuels is a dietary fat circulating in your blood called linoleic acid. Elite academic research reveals a stunning dynamic here. The tumor's uptake of this critical acid peaks during the light phase, precisely when your melatonin is at its absolute lowest. But when scientists bathe these tumors in melatonin, simulating deep restorative darkness, something incredible happens. Melatonin actively steps in and severs the fuel line. It rapidly and reversibly cuts off the tumor's food supply, starving the cancer cells of the very fat they need to survive.
So the crucial thing here is understanding exactly how it exerts this incredible power. When tumors absorb that linoleic acid, they metabolize it into a signaling molecule called 13-HOD. Think of 13-HOD as the gas pedal for explosive cancer growth. But melatonin binds directly to specific receptors on the cancer cell, heavily suppressing a molecule called CAMP. If 13-HOD is the gas pedal, melatonin suppressing CAMP is like physically reaching in and ripping the keys out of the ignition. It shuts down the fatty acid transport mechanism entirely. Without linoleic acid, the tumor simply cannot create its growth signal. The cancer is paralyzed.
And wow, the revelations just keep building from there. Let's shift over to the immune system. This is a literal battle for your immune system's loyalty. Macrophages are your frontline soldiers. They can exist as either lethal assassins, the M1 state, which actively hunts and destroys cancer cells, or as bodyguards, the M2 state, which tumors can actually brainwash to protect themselves and hide from your immune system. Darkness commands these soldiers. Melatonin physically drives these macrophages into the aggressive, tumor-destroying assassin state. But bathe yourself in artificial light at night, suppress your melatonin, and you essentially allow the tumor to brainwash your immune system, leaving those pro-tumoral bodyguards completely unchecked.
Finally, we have to look at the engine of the cell itself. Tumors are famous for this phenomenon called the Warburg effect. They hijack the cell's normal energy production, switching to a dirty, incredibly fast-burning fuel system called glycolysis just to rapidly multiply. Here, again, melatonin acts as a profound corrective force. By inhibiting a specific enzyme called PDK, melatonin physically forces the cancer cell to abandon its hijacked fast-burning engine and return to the normal slow-burn mitochondrial engine. It completely strips the tumor of its unfair metabolic advantage, forcing it right back into the rules of normal biology. When you synthesize all of this, the sleep disruption, the metabolic disarray, the brainwashed immune cells, and the turbocharged cancer biology, you arrive at an undeniable imperative. Protecting our health requires a complete top-to-bottom reevaluation of our relationship with light. It isn't just about basic sleep hygiene, it is arguably the ultimate lever of biological control we possess. We really must reframe darkness not as an empty absence of light, but as an active restorative medicine. It's a foundational requirement for disease prevention. The light entering your eyes at 9 p.m. is actively, physically programming your cells.
Which brings us to our final overarching realization. Health isn't a random collection of isolated habits. Health is the emergent result of countless, deeply interconnected biological processes occurring every single moment of every single day. And the grand conductor of this incredible biological symphony is the natural cycle of light and dark. By understanding this hidden operating system, you are now empowered to ask a critical question tonight. Are my evening habits supporting my cellular survival, or are they silently programming my biology for disease? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, respect the dark and stay curious.